Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama.
We cannot hear you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
We cannot hear you. We cannot hear you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuvunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So last week I could not connect online. I was in one remote place for a youth retreat. We had many students who had come. So you all got the information, I believe, right? Jayakrishna, you passed on to them last week?
Yes, Prabhuji, I kept a message in the group.
Thank you. So today I'm going to proceed with the next very interesting and very important session. I'll just open the slideshow for you. So this is about higher taste in spiritual life. You can see now? Yeah. So, higher taste through positive engagement. And see, this was the third question of Arjuna. First question was, what are the symptoms of a self-realized person? Second question was, how does he speak? And here's the third question. How does he sit? How does he sit means, how is he situated in this world full of tempting sense objects? And when he is possessing senses, like eyes, the nose, ears, tongue, and skin, and hands and legs, with his senses and sense objects, what does he do? You see, 6 verses now answer the third question. How does he remain suppressing his senses? Kim asita. You see, these questions are very important. Not only in spiritual life. Spiritual life, people sometimes think is meant for a reserved few people who may be inclined in that. But you will find learning this knowledge will also help you in your everyday life. For example, all of us, when we are situated in any part of the world, you take any human being, he is definitely subjected to these urges of lust, anger, and greed. The lust manifests itself in the form of desires. And many times, all desires are not legitimate desires. There are illegitimate desires also. Like, for example, in Hyderabad, in India, 3 boys, they found a girl walking on the road at 7 o'clock at night, and they kidnapped her and took her to forest and gang raped her. And the police took these 3 fellows to another forest and shot them the same day. Because they gang raped. Oh my. So now, why did these boys behave the way they behaved? Because these urges are there in the mind, impure urges. Everybody is allowed to marry and have a wife. Husband and wife can peacefully practice Krishna consciousness, but there are also illegitimate desires like that. Similarly, greed. Everybody is allowed to do a job, earn your money, and have a bank balance, and use a portion of your wealth for Lord's service. That is allowed. But you find there are people who enter into money scandals. And therefore, you find such scandals eventually come out after income tax raid and everything. But in this way, therefore, in the past few lectures, we studied about lust, anger, and greed. Similarly, anger is another very difficult to restrain emotion. So these 3 urges come in personal life. They also come in professional life. They come in every walk of life. Everybody has to face them. And what is it like? It's like an inner push from the mind. So that's why this subject of Bhagavad Gita is relevant for any human being in any walk of life, in any part of the world. It is not something that is meant for Hindus or it's meant for a class of people. It is actually meant for one and all. It's meant for all human beings. Because the things explained in Gita are very openly explained without any reservation. And they are pertinent and relevant to all people of all times. Now, let me go back to the question. So how does he remain suppressing his senses while living in this world of senses and sense objects? Yeah. So some of this we did. The previous verse, I am just revising it in 3-4 slides, and then we proceed ahead. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani vasarvashah indriyani indriyartebhyas tasya prajna pratishtitha. So here the tortoise example is given. So you should learn to restrain his senses in tempting environments, and then utilize his senses when they can be engaged in positive spiritual activity. So this we did before, but it's important for us to remember. Therefore, I have recollected it again. Please read this 3 point. One of you, please. Yeah.
Every living entity is subjected to pushing of senses due to impure desires stored in the mind. Most living entities become victims of Maya's glitter and glamour and fall prey to sins and concomitant sufferings.
Yeah.
Impelled
Sin means disobedience to God. That brings suffering also. Actually, why we use the word sin? Sin means those activities which are detrimental for our progress, and which are actually which take away our happiness. So those kinds of pushes in. Like for example, the junk food is very tasty, but when one eats burger and such kinds of things, they are sinful because the animals are killed, and also they increase obesity, and they cause problem to the individual person also. Yeah, but they are glitter and glamour. They are very attractive, crispy and very attractive. In the same manner, there are many habits which people possess because of such attractions, and they have concomitant sufferings also, he says. Yeah, please, this is the third point.
Impelled by Maya, not taking shelter of Krishna, the living beings repeatedly are tossed in the waves of samsara, owing to their forgetfulness and foolishness.
Yeah. So there are two things we can take shelter of: Krishna or Maya. Somebody can describe the picture you see here, which is put up here. Anybody would like to try to explain the picture? See, in the shirt, there is a face put up there. What is that?
That is Maya.
No, that is actually the soul which is residing inside the body. He is the actual person because the body is a dress over the soul, isn't it? So the soul is situated inside, but outside he has this covering of this material body, which is like a dress over the soul. And then these different things are shown. Anybody who wants to give a try? What is this? Any of you? Ask Jacob. Jacob, go ahead, Jacob. Jacob, you can increase the volume, please.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's better now. Yeah.
Okay. Different examples of how the body could be led astray by outside influences.
Oh, your volume is very low, Jacob. Can you increase it, please?
Can you hear me now? That's as far as I can get it to go.
Yeah. Others, you are able to hear. Jaykrishna, what did he say? Jacob?
Influence, outside influences, those hands are, he's like showing
Okay.
that those are the influences.
Outside influences, he said. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice. Anybody else want to say more? Any of you? Yeah. It's a very simple depiction of what we
The
are.
the lust and the desire, they are feeding the body. It's not feeding the soul.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
feeding all the senses,
Yeah.
eyes, nose, mouth.
They are actually, these are all pullings.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of the tongue? The pulling out of the tongue you are saying. What is the meaning of that? Anybody can say?
For taste specifically.
That means you want to eat something which is prohibited for the tongue, but the tongue is pulling him. Eat that, even though it is sinful. Like I told you about the non-vegetarian burger I was telling you. Similarly, ears are pulling, the eyes are being,
Eyes.
nose is pulled. So it means every sense is being pulled. The woman is shown for touching his skin. So in this way, you will find that all the senses are being pulled. These are the desires stored in the mind based on that. These are external pullings and internal pushing. Both happen. So therefore, he's saying in the third point, impelled by Maya. This is called Maya. Maya means the temporary allurements like this. Not taking shelter of Krishna, the living beings repeatedly are tossed in the waves of samsara owing to their forgetfulness and foolishness. So why is it called as foolishness? Because the soul's business is different. The soul is not supposed to be in this world at all. Soul is supposed to be in the spiritual world, very happily engaged in loving devotion service. Or here you find in the picture, Arjuna is engaging in war, but that war he is performing on the order of Lord Krishna. So he is happily engaged. So in the same manner, there are two things, like for example, somebody can follow the government of the country, or they break the government laws and they are put in the jail, and they follow the jail laws. So Maya is like jail laws, and following Krishna is like following government laws. So that is the point mentioned here, the third point. Yeah, impelled by Maya, not taking shelter of Krishna, the living being repeatedly tossed. Yeah. The test of a yogi is self-realized soul is that he is able to control the senses according to his plan. And what does a yogi do? Senses of a Krishna conscious yogi only used in service of the Lord and withdrawn otherwise. Like I told the example of tortoise. Yeah, this is what I told you. Last time I showed you this. Then one becomes steady in wisdom. And another example is given here. Yes, here you find the snake charming example. See, I have given you some tips here below. Somebody can explain this snake example? Any of you? Snake charmer and snake example. You can see the tips if you want. And then you can expand on it. But I want to be sure that you are catching the subject. You are all able to see it?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Anyway, can explain this snake charmer and the snake example?
Well, the snake charmer is like controlling.
Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu, can you please kindly increase the volume, please?
Oh,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Now it's better now.
Okay, yeah. The snake charmer is trying to charm the snake and it's calming down the snake.
Correct.
So, if it says the snake charmer instrument is the Hare Krishna chanting, then the snake must be the material enjoyment.
The snake, you're right. The snake is compared to the senses. Our senses like the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, hands, legs, they are compared to the senses. And our senses actually, the snake has a tooth which is poisonous, correct, no? And similarly, our senses also have the tooth of enjoying mentality. There are two mentalities. One is enjoying mentality, one is service mentality. And the enjoying mentality is what makes the world a very miserable place, because we try to enjoy and exploit. The snake also, with the tooth, it bites a person and kills a person. No? Similarly, people have exploiting and abusing nature in their senses. But by this, as you rightly said, by chanting Hare Krishna, we can calm the senses like the snake, and we can remove the tooth. Once the tooth is removed from the snake's mouth, the snake is no more dangerous. Similarly, our senses also, once we give up the enjoying mentality and we have service mentality, the senses are very good. Then they can be used properly. Like for example, you can drive the car properly, or you can drive the car after drinking, after driving it, you drive madly, and then there can be accident, isn't it? In the same manner, the senses can be properly used, or senses can be abused. Like I told you, the gang rape, that's abuse of senses. So senses can be, so that's what I was calling as a tooth of a snake. In Sanskrit, we call it as bhoga vritti, or it's called as enjoying mentality or exploiting mentality. And the snake charmer's Like that, they play this snake charmer. So that is the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when you chant Maha Mantra regularly like this, that chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra calms the mind, calms the senses, and gradually the propensity in the senses for doing, things against God's instructions, that propensity goes away. So one example I'll tell you. There was one hunter whose name was Mrigari. Mriga means animals, and Ari means enemy. He was enemy to the animals. In the forest, he was half killing many birds, half killing many animals also. One day, Narada, a great saint, was passing by. So he saw this Mrigari and approached him and said, "Why do you half kill these animals? Just see how they are trembling. They are screaming and trembling. Instead of half killing them, why don't you kill them fully?" He asked. And that fellow was taken by surprise. Here is a saintly person who is asking me to kill fully. So he became a little intrigued. Then he asked, "Sir, why do you say that?" Narada said, "You see, when you half kill them, they are half alive and they are struggling. If you fully kill them, they will be fully dead. At least they will not feel the pain. So why do you delight in giving pain to them?" He asked. Then this man said, "Sir, I come in the family of hunters, and my grandfather has killed so many tigers and lions and bears. And I also have many, many skins. If you want any of those animal skins, tell me, I can provide you." Like that he said. So when Narada heard it, he said, "I don't want any of those skins, my friend, but let me give you a vision of what happens to those who kill so many animals like this." Then Narada gave him a vision where all the animals came and they started howling and biting his body from all directions. And the hunter was like shocked, shell-shocked. He never thought such things can happen. Narada said, "The very same animals and birds you're half killing, after your death, they all will come and attack you like this." And the fellow came to his senses. And then when the vision was removed, then the fellow folded his palms, he fell at the feet to Narada and said, "Sir, please tell me what I should do now." Narada said, "Break the bow, throw it away. Don't kill these poor creatures anymore. And take this japamala and chant Hare Krishna mantra." He gave him the japa. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So he gave him very similar to what the snake example we gave. So like the snake charmer giving the beautiful sound. So he gave the Maha Mantra. So when this fellow went home with his wife, they both sat and chanted. As he chanted Hare Krishna, his killing propensity went away. He decided not to kill any more birds or animals after that. He became a very refined gentleman. One day, after many, many months, Narada came to the same forest. And along with his friend Parvata Muni, they both were rishis, saintly persons. They both came. And Narada said, "In this forest lives one hunter who became a devotee some 7-8 months ago." So he said that, "I would like to meet him, so you also come with me." So he took him also. So they both went. And to the great surprise, you know what happened? That hunter and his wife, they came running to meet Narada. And then they saw some ants on the way. He wanted to do namaskar. Namaskar means in India, people bow down flat on the ground. You've seen that? So when he was about to offer namaskar like that, he saw the ants. And he felt, if I flatly fall on the ground, the ants will be crushed by my body. So he took his upper garment cloth and he gently removed those ants to the side. And then he did namaskar. Seeing this, Narada Muni, Parvata Muni saw that. Parvata Muni said, "Wow, look at this fellow. Earlier he was half killing animals and birds and insects. Now he doesn't want to even cause harm to an ant also." So such was the transformation of Mrigari. So can anybody tell me what is the relevance of this story which I told you now to the subject matter in hand now, what we are discussing? Anybody can say? No relevance to this slide which I showed you all. This snake charmer. Any of you?
Once we recite or chant Hare Krishna mantra,
Mhm.
It purifies our mind, and it
Yeah.
takes away that enjoying mentality of
Yeah.
our senses
Yes.
and puts us in the place where we can bow to Hare Shri Krishna, and we can make progress on our life towards his service
Yes.
and go to Vaikunt.
Yes. Beautiful. You, Suniti, perfectly understand. Very wonderful. You got it right. This is exactly what I expected, actually. Yeah. Mm. Also, Jacob also is saying the parallel of him prior to his flute or Mahamantra and after. So he fully learned with the mantra not to even kill ants. Correct. That is true. Yeah. Yeah. So chanting Hare Krishna is like the flute that you use to control the snake of your senses and body. My Lord, what a deep realization. Huh? My Lord, Jacob is wonderful. He's saying that playing on the instrument is like the flute. Huh? When Krishna plays on the flute, we become his devotee. Then all our snake-like senses, they give up their propensity for biting and that poisonous tooth. Very nice. Good understanding. Thank you. So, in the same manner, there is a tendency in all senses, and they can become, they can be purified by this chanting. That's the point. Yeah. Then proceeding ahead. Oh, sorry. One of you can read this, please.
A devotee stays
Heading,
aloof.
heading.
Yes to Krishna, no to Maya becomes easy with higher test principle.
Yes.
A devotee stays aloof from the entanglement of sense objects. The analogy of tortoise. A devotee utilizes his senses only for devotional service. When there is no service to be performed by the senses, he withdraws them as the tortoise withdraws his limbs into his shell. In this way, the devotee is in full control of his senses, although he engages them in activities.
Which means he is not inactive. That is the point. See, sometimes what happens, many of the spiritual organizations, they tell you that, the senses are the cause of trouble. For example, even Buddhists, they say desire is the root cause of all evil. So we should give up all the desires. Is it possible for us to give up all the desires? Completely. So in Krishna consciousness, we don't say you give up all the desires. You transform your desires. For example, a boy may pick up a flower from the garden and give it to a girl. But a Krishna's devotee can pick up the same flower from the garden and give it to Krishna in the temple. Somebody may decorate the house for hours and hours and days together. People decorate their house and garden and everything. The devotee of the Lord can decorate the temple of the Lord if you have a decorating ability. So you can see that the same activities you are doing in the world, you have to just do it for Krishna. Like somebody may cook nice food and eat and say, oh, I like eating nice foods. But a devotee of Krishna, he cooks nice food, offers to Krishna in love. After Krishna is satisfied, then the devotee eats the prasad. So we do apparently we do the similar activities like what others are doing outside. But there's a big difference between devotee doing and somebody else doing. For example, there are many boys who are playing guitar. I had one student in India. He was a guitar player. So later on, he became a devotee. So he was telling that in my college, when I would play guitar on the stage, I would always look to the other side, how many girls are appreciating me. So my playing of guitar was for the pleasure of the girls. And now I become a devotee. Now I play guitar in Hare Krishna chant, I'm chanting. Now I'm thinking, how will I please my Lord Krishna? How Radha and Krishna will be happy with my guitar and by my singing. Let them become happy. See how his mindset has changed. So that's the meaning of yes to Krishna and no to Maya. And we all have to see in our lives how much are we, what things are we deviating from Krishna, and then we have to say yes to Krishna, no to Maya. So there are 4 regulative principles we follow. For example, we avoid illicit sex. Illicit sex means sex before marriage and sex outside marriage. Marriage, sex is allowed within marriage, but not prior to marriage or outside marriage, because marriage is a commitment or taking responsibility for the wife. Then one is allowed to live with wife and beget children and raise them in Krishna consciousness. But before marriage, one should avoid, and outside marriage means an extramarital relationship should be avoided. Second thing, no meat eating, which means fish, meat, or eggs, we avoid them. And similarly, intoxication like smoking or drinking or drugs, these are all harmful agents into the system. We should not put these things. And they also make us dull, and they also make us less intelligent, because they put us in illusion, and we lose the awareness of the external world also by those things. And they harm the body terribly with diseases. And fourthly, gambling. Gambling causes many, big money or no money and everything. That causes a lot of mental tension. So these are all things for which you have to say no. And we have alternatively, like it's not that a devotee cannot marry. Every person has to become a monk. We don't say that. There are some monks like me in ISKCON, but there are also many people who are married also. They also can practice within married life also. That is opposite illicit sex. Be a devotee, husband, wife, both of them practice together. Similarly, meat eating, we avoid meat eating, but that doesn't mean that we don't eat anything. Just eat, roots and berries in the forest. We don't say that. Eat nice prasad, cook nice prasad, offer to Krishna, and you can take. And in the same manner, intoxication. We don't take intoxication like smoking, drinking, drugs, these kind of things we don't. But our intoxication is singing and dancing in kirtans. Many of our devotees sing hours and hours and chant and dance very beautifully. It's maddening to the mind and very joyful. Similarly, we don't do gambling. That doesn't mean we cannot do job and earn money. We can honorably earn money, store it in the bank and use it. That's perfectly justified. So in this way, you have to say yes to Krishna and no to Maya. In the same manner, in Krishna consciousness, we do everything as an offering to Lord. We are in the part of Karma Yoga, the first 6 chapters of Gita. Here he is teaching very simply. You are a teacher or administrator or a trader or artisan. All of them are doing some work, and that work should be done with love as an offering to Lord. That is for work done for Krishna. Work done for oneself means I do work, I make money, I enjoy life, I don't care about God. I don't express my thanks to God, and I simply break all the regulatory principles, do what I wish, and then I create a ghastly future for myself. So therefore, here it is mentioned here, yes to Krishna, no to Maya becomes easy with a higher taste. Analogy of Tata is read. Read the second point, please, one of you.
The main way that a devotee controls his senses is through the higher taste principle. One will naturally and easily give up mundane attachments and enjoyments as he tastes the higher pleasure of spiritual life.
So the mundane attachment means material attachments, and higher taste of the spiritual pleasure, the higher taste when he tastes, then he is able to give up the lower taste, he says. Now, this is a well-known phenomenon in this world. If you get some more delicious food, which is freshly prepared, just imagine somebody brings a big plate of prasad for you. It's hot and just now cooked and offered to Krishna. It's a lot of big variety of items. And then what would you do with the food which you kept in the fridge yesterday? You will take it out and give it away to somebody else. You don't care about that food because now you got fresh, very nice big plate of food. This is your higher taste. When you get a higher taste, you give up the lower taste. Similarly, your job also. If you got a job which pays you higher salary, you will give up the job which pays you lower salary. Is it not true? Similarly, if you are taking a university education, say you were applying for a couple of colleges. One was a mediocre college, one was a top-notch college, Ivy League institute. So if you got a seat in Ivy League institute, will you go for that? or will you go for an average college? You give up the mediocre college and you go for a better one, isn't it? In the same manner, when you get higher spiritual taste, then lower tastes are very easy to give up. They become very insignificant. That is explained in the further slides. It will become even more easy to understand. I'll show you how it is. We will see. See, here's a famous verse. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So Krishna is saying here, Vishaya means sense objects. One may give up the sense objects by avoiding them, but rasavarjam rasopyasya means still the taste remains for those objects. But by higher taste, one can say no to them. Here, for example, see, here is the embodied soul. When he is restricted from sense enjoyment, what happens? The taste for sense object remains. Here you see below in the picture is Vishwamitra Muni. He is sitting and trying to meditate in the hot sun. But in his mind is getting disturbed by thinking of Menaka. She is dancing and, his mind is getting agitated by that. That means he's trying to, although he is restricting himself from enjoying with Menaka or any woman, he is sitting like a sage, but his mind is still that object for the taste for the object remains like that. But on the other hand, you can see, if you develop higher taste, see the other picture. The devotees are eating prasad. The devotees are making a dough for cooking something. One girl is doing arti, worship of the Lord. Another devotee is cleaning the room. One lady is cooking. But all of them, what are they remembering? That's it. They know that I am cooking for Krishna, I am cleaning for Krishna, I am worshipping Krishna. So they are able to remember Krishna. This is higher taste. By rendering service to Krishna, we develop higher taste, you get fixed consciousness. And then you automatically lose taste for the lower things. Not so attractive things, the pale things, the mundane things, you are able to give up. So is this easy for everybody to understand? When you, for example, somebody was drinking, liquor and somebody was eating meat before. But after tasting the delicious prasadam, they give up all those habits very easily. Very easily, all the old habits, bad habits go away. They don't put anything harmful to the system afterwards. Because the body is actually a temple of God. God has given me this body, and the body has a purpose. This body should be used, like I'm wearing a tilak, you see, this is the feet of God. We are putting the feet of God on our forehead, which means I accept God as my master. And I use this body, keep the body clean. I use my mouth to glorify the Lord. I use my mouth to sing about the Lord. I use my ears to hear, the message of the sacred word of God. I use my eyes to see His beauty. I use my mouth to eat the prasadam. I use my legs to go to the temple of God. And I use my hands and legs to dance in the kirtans. This is the life of a devotee. So these are all higher taste. All these things will lead to higher taste. And once we understand that actually I belong to spiritual world, I don't belong to this world. Body is simply a dress over the soul. Although the body may be pushing, pulling, I don't care for the temptations. I develop a higher taste and then I go higher and higher. It's said in the Bible, the spirit is strong, but the flesh is weak. Have any of you heard this? Any of you can say? Yes, Sunit, go ahead.
Actually, I wanted to ask one thing. This, according to that question, I'm not. The question is that how long will it take for us to pull ourselves from the clutches of Maya and Moh? Because I am trying to practice everything what I have read in Gita till date, but the thing is that I'm still, that left picture in which you showed Muni practicing and his mind is still not pure, like the senses are still attached to it. So I'm like, if for 6 days, if I go for something, it works well, but on the 7th day, I'm still, I still get back to those sense things, and it Like it makes me very sad for a day, and then again I have to pull out myself from that. Again, means it's like getting a little bit difficult for me to remain in the same state of mind.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, there are four stages. First there is an impure state, then there's a semi-pure state, then there's a pure state, and there's an ultra-pure state. Huh? So now impure state means people who are in mode of passion and ignorance. They are repeatedly doing these things. They don't even know that these are not good. They don't know. Just like, for example, in India, sometimes you will find a pig living in a ditch, in a dirty ditch, stinking ditch, but it's very comfortable there, huh? Isn't it? And that is impure state. And then when you come to semi-pure state, that is a state where you understand this point, what you're talking now. That means sometimes I'm pure, sometimes I'm impure. Again, sometimes I'm pure, sometimes I'm falling back again. So that's like a pendulum. Huh? We enjoy, and when we get kicks of Maya, we suffer, then we again go back to no enjoyment. And afterwards we get bored. Oh, I'm not enjoying, I want to enjoy. Again you go back to enjoyment, like a pendulum. We go back and forth like this. Huh? That's the second stage, semi-pure state. Huh? And then a stage will come when you chant Hare Krishna, practice this over a period of time, for a period of a few years of practice, you come to a pure state, where your taste changes. You start developing taste for pure things, and you also lose taste for impure things. Now, at the moment, as you said, the taste for impure things is not lost yet. It is still there. Therefore, it's lingering in the mind. I don't find them totally distasteful. I like it also. Huh? So, but at the same time, I'm trying to go on to the higher taste, and again I fall back. Like, for example, let me tell you an example. Diabetes patients, like one diabetes patient was told by the doctor that you should not eat Alfonso mangoes, you should avoid sweet. So he had a very big orchard, mango orchard, from where his servant brought big sacks of Alfonso mangoes. And then he would ask her, servant, sir, where should I put it? He said, put it in the warehouse, put it in the godown, he said. So the man was taking many sacks of mangoes and kept it in the godown. So this landlord, in the night, he got up because he got the smell of the mango. They went to the warehouse, where he saw, like that the mango smell was coming. Huh? Then he took out the mangoes and saw pulpy mangoes, stout mangoes. He wanted to eat them. He had a very great eagerness. Huh? So at the same time, doctor had told him, you cannot eat it. Doctor had prohibited for him. So he would take it, smell it, put it back. He would come back and lie down. Again, he would think. Again, go and pick it up. Smell it and then put it down. Finally, he thought, see, doctor is saying, don't eat, because if you eat, you will die. If I eat also, I will die. If I don't eat, anyway, I have to die one day. Better eat and die, he thought. But the problem is, if I eat now, I will die within a year or two. But if I don't eat it now, I can live for another 30 years, So that is the situation of a conditioned soul in this world, where he wants to give up, but the temptations don't go away very quickly. It takes some time. Just like, we have this goods train in India, you have seen, it's a long train. If you put a sudden brake here, it takes another 30 feet to stop, because they've been coming with a momentum, woof, 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 like that. When you put a brake here, it takes time to stop. Just like fan also, if you switch off the fan, it doesn't stop instantly. It gradually comes. That's what Jacob was telling. Jacob was making the point that yes, you make a start, it gradually we will attain that. And at the same time, another interesting thing I will tell you, Sunil, not only we want to give up the engagement in Maya, if we become absorbed in Krishna's service, engaging ourselves very nicely. Like in our ISKCON temples, if you see, one of the following weeks, I am going to get one Arjunananda Prabhu to come. Jakrishna, which week is coming, next week or the following week?
It's after 2 weeks, Prabhuji. Like
After 2 weeks,
June.
I am planning to request him to speak on his life in Brooklyn Temple. He's going to speak with all of you. He will share. He's a brahmachari from Pune. He's living there. And he has a first-class engagement. He goes for Harinam Sankirtan in the afternoon half, and he goes for book distribution. He does youth outreach in the evening. Every evening he has a program. He does morning between 4:30 to 9:30. He has a very good, what do you call it? Aarti and chanting japa and hearing class. In this way, and he also cooks for the boys. He cooks. So we actually need our day, morning to night, very nicely filled with positive spiritual activities in such a manner that, we will not stoop into activities which are sinful or which are Maya's activities. And over a period of time, I have a very simple formula: maximize Krishna time, minimize Maya time. So gradually you minimize that sinful portion or bad portion, what is prohibited for us, and then increase the good portion. And eventually, it's only a matter of time. You will see that your taste for higher spiritual activities will increase more and more. Once the taste becomes very strong, not only you give up Maya's activities reluctantly, but you will lose taste for them. Like I told you, for example, illicit sex or gambling or intoxication. Like a man realizes, for example, imagine a boy going to a prostitute or different prostitutes. He realizes, my Lord, if I go to different women, I am going to get some diseases. Sexually transmitted diseases. People are getting 25, 30 diseases are there. It's very dangerous. Tomorrow, even normal living will become problematic. A man realizes. Similarly, a man eating meat, he thinks, my Lord, in the body of a goat, in the body of a chicken, there is also soul present. And they are like my brother. I am eating, they are eating. I am sleeping, they are sleeping. I reproduce, they reproduce. Then what's the difference? They are also living beings. They are like my younger brother. How can I kill my younger brother? So he becomes sympathetic to all the creatures. Then he will not kill them. And why should I put intoxicants in my mouth? Because if I take intoxicants, if I drink and drive the car, there will be an accident. If I smoke cigarette, my lung will be charred. And I will have a short life. Or if I drink liquor, I'll have liver cirrhosis. So why should I harm my body? Why should I put substances into the body which harm my body? One becomes intelligent and wise. So using your reasoning power, you can also preach to your mind that these things are not good for you. You give it up. Because right now, all of you are becoming intelligent. By attending these sessions, your wisdom is getting awakened. And then it's like switching on a light in a dark room. Once the light is switched on, you can see things as they are. Based on that intelligence, you can say no to Maya and yes to Krishna. Yeah. So that was the point. And then by developing high taste, become fixed in consciousness. And we can say,
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, sure.
So can I say that this physical body or the age factor also contributes to the, senses, right? For example, suppose, so in the childhood, we longed for the chocolates and sweets more.
Yeah.
So over the time, so we will not taste that much. By the age growing.
Actually, Sandeep, I understand your point. At the same time, I'll tell you a real incident. Akbar and Birbal, you know the story. Once Akbar was telling Birbal, is it true that when a man becomes older, 70, 80 years old, he loses taste for the opposite sex? And Birbal laughed and said, I will show you something interesting he took. So he took Birbal to one old man who was about 85 years old. That man was lying down in the bed, bedridden, passing stool urine in the bed. And he told Akbar, now call your daughter. He had one daughter. Call your young teenage daughter. So the teenage daughter was coming into the room. And guess what this old man was doing? Old man was turning his face like this. As she was walking, he was looking at her with two big eyes. Up to the point, and she came and sat next to her father. And he was looking at her up and down, measuring her body. And then now Birbal told Akbar, now you send her back. He said her again. She was going. She was very good looking and grown-up girl, teenage girl. He was watching. And then when she left, this old man was, eyes was all going. After she went, then he fell in the bed like this. He closed his eyes after that. And then Birbal told Akbar, what do you notice? Akbar said, I was like shocked. This old man is 85 years old, but his propensity for staring at this beauty of the opposite sex is not gone, even at that age, he said. So it is not that by increasing age, these desires go away. Is the point clear, Sandeep?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Now that means all of you, now you have come to an interesting point when Sandeep's question. That means if a man is 85 years old, he still has a very strong desire for opposite sex. When he dies, that Atma will carry the mind which has the desires, and then it will go into another body of a man where he will continue enjoying these desires because he has a desire. He has to give shape to the desire. Now, right now, what has happened to this old fellow? He is 85-year-old, he cannot enjoy the way he wants to enjoy. Therefore, this body will be finished, a new body will be given where he can enjoy. But in the name of enjoyment, he is going to suffer more. Is that point clear, Sandeep? That point also is clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's like that. So, but one point is true about what Sandeep said. Children play with toys. When you go to school, when you go to teenage, you don't play with toys anymore. The teenage boys are a teenage girl. And then when you become married, anyway, you already have a wife and children. You are more attracted to money making. And then when you make a lot of money, you have to pay the bills off. When you become 40, 45, 50, you want to actually start a business or make your career bigger or acquire a bigger position or something in life. And then when you become 60, you get old, you're retired. Now you worry about your body more. Body is not cooperating, many problems in the body like that. That's true, as Sandeep said, at different cross sections of our life, our focuses are different. Nevertheless, the enjoying mentality prevails all through. It prevails from, actually, enjoying mentality has to be converted into seva mentality. It's called bhoga vritti to seva vritti. Bhoga means exploit, seva means serve. The nature of the soul is to love and serve the Supreme Lord. That is the soul's nature. So by rendering service to the Lord, we become truly happy. See, in this world also, you all understand, when you go for a job, in the company, not that you are going for the job because you love your boss. You go for the job because he gives you a paycheck at the end of the month. Imagine if the boss says, I like your work very much, you keep coming and doing work, but I won't give you a paycheck. What will you do? You will stop the job. You won't go. So in this world, the work is done because you get something in return. Whereas love of God is not like that. You love God, you want to serve Him. You don't want anything from Him. You simply want Him to accept your service. That's all. And here also you find Lord is driving the chariot of Arjuna. He doesn't want anything from Arjuna. He's just doing it voluntarily out of affection for his friend. This is that. So the dealing between Lord and the devotee is one of pure love. Now, in the same manner, even all of us can deal with one another with no expectation. Simply out of affection, we can render service to one another. And by doing that, that spiritual love will deeply nourish and satisfy our hearts and give us fulfillment. And you can do that even in your family, for example, your husband, wife, children, mother, father, when they are living. If you all put God in the center, then that type of pure love can be experienced even in our relationships. Like a husband thinks about wife's needs, interests, concerns, and expectations, and wife thinks about husband's. If they both are devotees, they both are actually in assisting mood to each other rather than an exploiting mood. The wife doesn't see the husband as a supplier of money, and husband doesn't see wife just like a sex machine. He sees, oh, my wife is a living entity, a loving servant of God. And the wife also sees husband as a living entity, loving servant of God. They both see, we both have Supreme Lord as our master. So then it's a happy family. Where there is no exploitative mentality, the real joy can be experienced there. The true joy is experienced only when there is no exploitative mentality. Whole world is looking for such a pure love, actually. And that pure love is possible when you love God. Initially, what happens when you love only your mother first. Then you love your mother and father. Then you love your own brother and sister. Then you love your state people or your country people. Then your love expands to people of all over the world, all human beings. But even those people who love all humans, even they kill animals and birds and eat and all. They do that. But when you love Krishna, when you love God, you love all. Because God is Father of all living beings. When you love Him, you love everybody. You have no enmity with anybody. You see, the whole world is filled with living beings who are all children of God. They are all part and parcels of God. So you will always want to do good to everyone. You will have no mentality of exploiting anyone. You can't exploit. How can you? Because everybody is your brother and sister. You can't afford to exploit. So you give up that mentality. Yeah. So here Jacob is asking, isn't this why Krishna comes in many forms too? Then he can get people's love from any level. Yeah, that is true. Krishna accepts love in various forms. Like, for example, somebody treats Krishna as a friend, like Arjuna. Somebody treats Krishna as a son, like Yashoda. Like Radha treats Krishna as her beloved, and he treats Radha as a lover, gopis. And also Krishna sends his messengers, like different parts of the world, like he sends his dear sons also, like Jesus, for example. Or he sends Muhammad, who's a prophet. And there are also many, many other incarnations also Krishna sends in this world. But the kind of love that Krishna taught in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is what we are discussing. And that is like the topmost pristine and pure love, which anybody from any part of the world can understand and apply and practice. Yeah, and also another interesting point Jacob has made, idle hands are the devil's playground for sure. That's one of the problems I think we all face and now with our phones. Because we can do anything with them, but if it is not engaged directly in something good, then we are left in a half-active state, or worse, engage it in something negative. Good, Jacob, very good point you brought up. Actually, if you don't have any positive higher engagement, then we tend to waste the time with YouTube or things like that, as Jacob has said with the phone. The phone is like a knife. In Sarjan's hands, knife is good. The knife can actually be used to save a dying man. In the hands of a thief, the very same knife is very dangerous. He can stab somebody and kill a person. So that means the thief is exploiting someone with the knife, and the surgeon is saving someone with the same knife. You see the difference? Similarly, in this world also, everything that exists is property of the Lord. So everything should be taken and used in His service. Like the flowers are blossoming in the garden. Why the flowers are blossoming? The plants are saying, please, someone come here, pick up my flower and offer it to my Lord. Because the plant cannot go to the temple of God. But if you pluck the flower and offer it to God in the temple, then the plant will get a human body in the next life. Yeah. Sunit is saying, nice, you are using your phone to hear bhajan and kirtan. Very good. It's the right use. Yeah. For example, a flower plant wants to offer the flower to God. A fruit plant, like say a watermelon tree wants to offer the watermelon to Krishna. But he cannot walk to the temple. He doesn't have legs like we have. But if you pluck the watermelon and offer it to Krishna in the temple, then the watermelon tree in the next life will get the body of a human being because you offered his gift to Krishna. So the flower plants want to offer flowers, fruit plants want to offer fruits, the ocean wants to offer 9 gems and 9 navaratnas like diamond, like for example, different type of pearls and all that. The mountain wants to offer gold, silver, diamond. You can make ornaments and offer it to the Lord. Similarly, the cotton tree offers cotton. You can make nice dress and put it on Lord's body. Other plants are giving grains and cereals and everything. You can cook and offer it to Lord. So everything in this world can be offered. Even all of you assembled here today, some of you may be good singers, so you can use your singing talent in Lord's service. Some of you may be good speakers. You can speak the glories of the Lord. Some of you may be very good decorators. You can decorate the temple of Lord. So in this way, all living beings possess some talent which is actually meant to be offered in Lord's service. And that is right use. That is called seva, we call it. And the wrong use is the abuse or exploitation. So therefore, yes to Krishna and no to Maya, we were saying. So we are running out of time. I show this one slide after this. So now the third question, how does he sit? How does he restrain his senses? So here, so I was telling about the higher taste, I was telling you. Here is an example of a higher taste. You can see this.
my fine feathered friends? Ah, I see. What shall I play then? An excellent choice. You are as gracious as you are beautiful. I will wear it with honor.
You see, we were talking about higher taste. This is higher taste. Huh? You're seeing the spiritual world, how the Lord deals with the living beings. Huh? You know, he's asking the, the peacocks, how can I serve you? No. They're saying, can you please play that particular tune on your flute? He says, okay, I'll do that. What's your choice? And they tell the tune, and he says, excellent choice. He's appreciating them. Huh? And then he is serving them by playing on the flute. And then other animals also come, like the deers and the parrots and others, friends also come. And then the peacock wants to offer something. He's offering one peacock feather, thinking it to be a very insignificant thing. He's thinking, what am I giving? Such a small thing. But for Krishna, it is a great thing because it's offered with love. So he's wearing it on the head to indicate that how much I value your gift. So this is the beauty of spiritual world. Actually, this is higher taste. So when we study the Vedic literature, we find that there is material world, there is spiritual world. The material world is a world of exploitation. Spiritual world is a world of service. Material world is a place of lust. Spiritual world is a world of love. Material world is temporary. Spiritual world is eternal, everlasting. The material world, everybody thinks I am the center. Everybody wants everyone else to be at their beck and call. Spiritual world is a place where God is the center. And everyone lovingly serves them. And he also serves back in reciprocation, all living beings. So, and so on the other hand, so from this I will continue next time. Because this will involve little discussion, restraining is difficult because the taste of sense object still remains. Like a diseased patient restraining himself from a food item, I told you, like Alfonso mangoes. See, restrictions are only good in neophyte stage because on advanced platform, one develops a higher taste, it becomes very easy to restrain. And here, way below, you see, what kind of higher taste is recommended? One who has tasted the Lord's beauty in the course of his advancement, such a person loses all taste of dead material things, he says. Once you have tasted Lord's beauty, so then you develop higher taste. Then you understand the beauty of this world is temporary, nothing attractive. So for one who stops eating, the object of senses disappear, but not the desire for the objects, he says. So from 260 onwards, I'll continue next time. So this is because deep concepts are involved. I thought I'll spend some time. So next time when we come, I'll continue with that. Okay. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Sir, you have started replying the emails now?
Yeah, actually, I have about 700 mails unreplied in my box. And therefore, I may be delaying to reply. You have sent me a mail already, Sunit?
No, I've been planning to start sending emails because I'm having a lot of confusions and doubts, and I want to clear.
You can write to me. So what you can do, Sunit, you can in the subject you can put be a perfect yogi. If you put, okay. I will easily remember. I will be able to. I'll give my email. You can yes, you can. You all can write to me, and I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, because I have already your email with me, but I'm just like you have already started because it's long ago. You came back from US, and after that, I was just waiting for you to start reading emails and replying them. That's why. Yeah,
I will reply if I see be a perfect yogi, I will surely answer it. Surely, huh? Yeah.
Okay.
And also, Jacob, you wanted an appointment on Zoom, so I will fix it in the coming week. Huh? I'll fix it in the coming week. You had already asked me. I'm sorry for the delay. We will do it in this coming week. We will do. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much.